Ladies and gentlemen, this is Football Primetime. I'm your host, Bill Dean. I'm here, of course, with my two co-hosts, Brett and AJ Dean. AJ became a Giants fan and a Devils fan all in one fell swoop. So we're really excited to have Mr. Sam Wu on the pod. First 10 minutes before he watches his Giants get smoked by Brett's San Francisco 49ers. But we're brought to you by Mr. Wu behind the glass, courtesy of Primetime Radio. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Thumbs up, 5 stars, whatever you can do. We appreciate the following. Gentlemen, week 3 NFL football. Thursday night, Giants at the San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be an interesting game if you're a fan of football, but not if you're a Giant fan. I cannot see, and we'll have Sam give his take right away. But Sam, no Saquon, no left tackle Andrew Thomas. You have Neal, going to go against Joey Bosa. You have no Brandon Ayuk, so a little bit of their offense is gone. But I can see this being a Debo game right away. Sam, let's go. Let's hear your take on your New York Football Giants.
You're putting me on the spot here.
Right away. Yeah, I want to see what you're made of. What kind of fan are you?
If Daniel Jones makes it out alive tonight without an injury, that's considered a victory. Absolutely. If Evan Neal could actually block somebody, at least one time, I will take that. But I think the narrative is going to change. I think there's a certain running back who will be playing tonight that has a little chip on his shoulder about his former team. And I think he is going to run, I would say, 70 to 80 yards, maybe punch in a touchdown. I'm not saying the Giants are going to win. But if you look at last week, Bill, I don't know, by halftime, I was so distraught.
Yeah.
That 6 quarters of Giants football.
0 points.
Where you could have put last season's Colorado, Buffaloes in that category. But it's amazing, like in Deion Sanders fashion, making a little reference there, how fast things could change in one halftime.
Yeah.
So I think it was a confidence issue. I think it was just a lack of execution. My wife came home that day, and she's at halftime like, why does Daniel Jones suck so much? I said, it's not Daniel Jones. Yeah. They're just not catching the ball. It's right to them.
No, they're bad. Yeah.
So which Giants team is going to show up against San Francisco? I don't think it really matters, to be honest. But the rivalry continues. I mean, you go back to Joe Montana versus Phil Simms, Jim Burt versus Joe Montana, Leonard Marshall versus Joe Montana.
Yep.
I'm just bringing up misery for Brett. And,
although all time, it's 21-21 all-time series matchup. You're tied, so winner take all right here.
Not really. Not really. Maybe the game after, but not really.
Maybe the game after, yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, I mean, listen, there's obviously a chance. There's always a chance Daniel Jones could, rush for 2 touchdowns, throw for 2, and you guys, pull out a miraculous comeback. This 49ers team right now, and Brett kind of told us last week about it, they're healthy, right? And that's a big change in this makeup of this team. When they're healthy and they got their guys on the field, they're ridiculous. They're extremely good. Nick Bosa is all world. They talk about passing the torch from, J.J. Watt, who's that next elite pass rusher. I mean, Nick Bosa's been here for 2 years now. He's been extremely top of the league, all-timer, and he's going to go against Evan Neal, who, Sam, I know we talked about it, but he is not good. He has not been good. He's been a shell of himself, and there were rumblings about, all right, timeout. Let's hear it.
On Evan Neal, okay. I went back to old videos of that draft
Yeah.
of that draft. And it was you and AJ that were trying to convince me, and I was texting you. Unfortunately, we don't have those text messages.
Yeah.
When the Giants were up to pick, and I'm thinking Micah. After the Eagles took a wide receiver, and there was all this drama, I was like, oh, he's going to – the next LT will be a New York football Giant. And then Dave Gettleman not only ruined his franchise, but Chicago with Justin Fields, made that trade, and you and AJ said, oh, no, you got an extra pick. That's a great – it turned out to be Evan Neal.
It did turn out to be Neal, yeah. Listen, you got Kayvon Thibodeau, obviously an extremely good defensive end, someone I think can grow and become, a stud in this league.
But this is Micah Parsons. I already
True.
knew he was going to be a stud. The knock on him was character issues that didn't exist.
Yeah.
That's why he fell down.
Yeah. No. It's not. It doesn't look good for the Giants. But what I was going to say on the Jets side, last year's draft versus the Giants draft, the Jets look like world beaters. I mean, obviously Sauce, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Michael Clemens, Jermaine Johnson. They have 6 guys that have looked really good in this draft. And Giants fans, sorry, but Evan Neal doesn't look very good at this moment. He could get better. Kayvon's still a work in progress. Brett, we haven't heard from you. What's your take on this Giants 49ers game?
I think this is going to be a long night for the Giants. If you look at the way the teams are playing right now, the Giants had the worst opening 6 quarters of football to start off this season by any team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I thought, we all went into the season being like the Cardinals are the worst team. Well, for 2 quarters last week, it looked like it was the Giants until they flipped the switch at the end of the game. But the difference in this game is going to be the fact that the Giants right now probably have the worst offensive line and the worst defensive line going in football, and they're going against the team that probably has the best offensive line and the best defensive line in football. So it's going to be interesting. Giants are the only team in the NFL right now who do not have a sack, which is astonishing to me. And I don't think they're going to get one tonight. Back on what you said earlier, Billy, I could see Brock Purdy just sitting in the pocket and just picking apart the Giants with Debo and Kittle.
Mr. Irrelevant? Come on. The Giants are so good they don't need a sack, Brett.
I love Sam Wu. Listen, Leonard Williams, former Jet, good player, not all world. I like Dexter Lawrence as that nose tackle. He's a very good player, but they can't seem to get the pass rush in. Like we said, Thibodeau, Ojulari, who's out, right? So you have Jahad Ward. They haven't been able to get that defense going, and you can see that that's a big negative on this team at the moment. Isaiah Simmons comes over. He hasn't kind of been Micah McFadden's been good as the middle linebacker. I like him. But, their cornerbacks, Deontay Banks, Trey Hawkins, they're relying on rookies. It's going to be tough, Sam. I'll be rooting for you guys, but it's going to be tough. I do have the over in points, though, as my bet of the day. And also, how is Christian McCaffrey's betting yardage only at 78 when he's had 2 back-to-back 100-yard games? Like, you got to take the over on the rushing yards, especially against the Giants.
I think they're just banking on the fact that Purdy's going to be able to sit in the pocket and just sling the ball around the field.
I think they're going to be able to do anything they want on offense. But, yeah, Sam, sorry, bud, but I think you're in for a world of hurt today.
Well, no, not at all. Maybe I can make a little money on it. So you're saying that
over. I parlayed Daniel Jones over 200 yards with Christian McCaffrey over 79 yards, and I can make some good money. So I recommend that one.
Wait. I shouldn't take advice from you because
why? I've been winning.
The last time I took advice from you and AJ. Remember
that's AJ.
That suicide league where
come on. That was last year. What was the team?
The first week I had 2 spots
I can't remember.
and they lost them both.
2022 NFL season week 1. What team was that? Because it was like a lock.
Wild wins.
It was Broncos. It was Broncos and Seahawks.
Oh, Russell Wilson is going to be mad over the Seahawks. Oh, it's a guaranteed win, Sam.
Yeah.
My wife she's not a betting. She doesn't gamble. She relies on us dopes to make the picks. I mean, she could have spent the $100 elsewhere, but no. Got screwed by Billy Dean and AJ Dean.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Broncos and Seahawks. I forgot about that one. Oh, yep. All right. Yeah, don't listen to me anymore. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Let's get quickly talk a little bit of last week. We talked about the Giants, but Jets, pulling up a stinker. Defense didn't show up. 30-10 loss to Dallas. Defense looks great. Real big hit with Trevon Diggs out for the season, torn ACL. And it was as a practice. It looked like it was non-contact. It wasn't even on turf. It was on grass. The NFL has a big issue with injuries right now, and you see Diggs is out. Ayuk's out for this game. Just looks like a game thing. Panthers were without Bryce Young for a game for week 3. And, not to talk about Nick Chubb's injury, but that was one of the worst ones I've seen in a while. And you feel bad for one of the top 5 running backs in the game, and someone it's amazing. Every time he totes the ball, it's at least 6 yards. At least 6 yards. The guy is the epitome of consistency. And, you feel bad for the Browns fans. They have a shitty quarterback who's paid too much and is a dirtbag human being. And then you just lost your favorite player on your team.
I was about to say that was a tough injury to watch. I don't know if you guys remember. It kind of gave me flashbacks back to the Kevin Ware injury.
Yes. Yeah.
Or a while back in the NCAA. Yep. Obviously, nowhere near as gruesome, but knees are not supposed to bend in that direction, to say the least. I mean, the only bright side you have as a Browns fan is you got a great offensive line, and they seem to like what they have in Jerome Ford right now, which is why they didn't bring Kareem Hunt back in the offseason. They're going to bring him back now. But that's just more of a depth piece. You need to bring someone in who's got some juice and knows the playbook. It's easier to get him acclimated than bring anyone else in. So that makes sense. But when you're looking at the injuries, I mean, they are popping up everywhere. I mean, even Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's got a turf toe injury, a bunch of things, multiple guys in concussion protocol, Anthony Richardson, Jalen Waddle. I mean, this is the nature of the beast of the NFL, right? I mean, this is the battle that running backs are having with trying to get contracts, and it's what it is. I mean, you want to feel for these guys and these injuries and show out for them and give them support and everything like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is what football is. It's a hard-hitting game. Injuries are going to happen. You can't prevent the injuries in football. If you prevent them fully, then you don't have football anymore. So it's true. You got to take what you want. I feel for Chubb. That injury stinks. I'm just worried for Chubb because that's the same knee he blew up in college.
Mm-hmm.
So
Georgia.
You hope that he's able to come back. It's hard. That knee was. Whew.
Yeah. He got blown up. That was just all world bad. All right, Brett. So talking about the team that Minka Fitzpatrick and the team that actually won the game, I'm still worried about Pittsburgh. I think as a Pittsburgh fan, you get a win, 26-22, gutty, defense played well. You have an interception return on the first passing play of the game by Highsmith. You had TJ Watt's fumble recovery for the touchdown, right? But Kenny Pickett has not looked good. You had a George Pickens play where it takes 71 yards for a touchdown, and that was a little fluky, right? He should have gotten tackled. Are you worried as a Pittsburgh fan that this team is really a bottom of the league?
I don't think we're bottom of the league. I mean, I'm a little worried. The offensive line has not been what it is. I mean, people aren't going to like hearing this because I know people have this guy in a lot of their fantasy teams. I almost think it's time to move on from Najee Harris.
Yep.
It's hard to say.
Give me Jaylen Warren.
Jaylen Warren just looks like he's got more juice out there. He's running with – he's faster, you can say the least. I mean, there's no doubt that Najee Harris is harder to bring down. You see it, but Najee Harris gets the slowest 5 yards humanly possible, and Jaylen Warren looks like he shot out of a cannon. But in general, I mean, it's hard to judge off of 2 games. You want to see Pickett make improvements, and I think they're still going to come. It's hard right now because we have a second-year wide receiver who's operating as a number 1. That's a huge jump for him to make. It's hard to judge it fully without Deontay Johnson out there, so we'll have to see once he comes back in week 5 what he can do and how he can change things around. But definitely some concern. But, the great equalizer is the AFC North football. If there's one division that knows how to beat everyone up, it's the AFC North. And you saw that in the Browns-Steelers game. I mean, neither team looked particularly good on offense except for what Nick Chubb did before he left the game, and Jerome Ford had some good runs in there afterwards. But, I mean, no one in the AFC North looks particularly good right now. So it's going to come down to whatever team kind of gets hot first. So am I worried about the Steelers? There's some mild concern, but the bright side is the other teams in our division are kind of keeping us hanging around. At 1-1 doesn't feel like a bad start right now.
No, it's not. It's not. You're right. But it just, from an outside perspective, it just looks like I'd be a little nervous about this team. I haven't seen, and I'm talking from a Jets fan's perspective, so I'm always negative. But Kenny Pickett just getting that next step, because you need to see those movements from a quarterback. And I've seen all too many where they're just stagnant and stale. And, that's what I'm hoping for Pittsburgh's young quarterback, if possible. What was your favorite game from the Week 2 slate? Anyone that leaped out to you that you were excited to watch? Or
what was the favorite? I mean, obviously I had my eyes on that Monday night game the whole week. Kind of got the damper with the thing. And honestly, I'm just going to say it before we go any farther. Not a fan of these Monday night doubleheaders. We can get rid of these at any time right now. Because for me, the first game starts early. That's a 5 o'clock game for me. I'm still working. I mean, you lose most of the West Coast, which I guess that's why they're doing it a East Coast game and a West Coast game. Even though last week was 2 East Coast games. But I did really like that Steelers game. It's what you're looking for. Steelers Browns. We're talking 2 teams that just flat out hate each other. I mean, that's what you want when you're stepping out in the field. When we're talking this week, hard to say what I'm looking forward to this week. Kind of looking forward to Chargers Vikings. It's a little unorthodox, but
losers in big trouble.
Both teams are in big trouble. 0-2 starts from both of them. They both need to get going. I'm for to see what happens there. Both teams need to get it rolling.
Obviously the loser's in trouble, 0-3, but I do think Chargers can dig their way out of that. If Vikings go down 0-3, I'm calling the New York Jets if I'm GM, and I'm shopping Kirk Cousins, and I want to go over. And I want to get Caleb Williams for my all-world wide receiver who you watch Justin Jefferson, and it's one of the most beautiful things you can watch on a football field. He's so good. Just his route running, his speed, his ability to get open, everything he does. His catch radius is ridiculous. I'm a big fan of Justin Jefferson, and you want to see and Kirk Cousins has been good, and I'm not blaming this season on him. The defense has been putrid. They've been able to score points though, and he's been fantastic. And I definitely think that it's one of those things where as a GM you have to look at your team and understand that this might not be a playoff team with this quarterback, and it's not because of the quarterback, but it might not be a playoff team, and you need to go out and shop and see what you can get for a top 12 quarterback in the league. Yeah,
I mean, I do think they're going to hit the panic button soon. I mean, especially with the Saints playing pretty well. I mean, at some point they're going to have to look at the rest of their division and realize that they're going to be left out here. I mean, the Packers look legit. I'm not going to lie. Jordan Love looks good.
Yeah,
I'm with you. The Vikings, if they don't win against both teams are going to be in panic mode. I do think the Chargers have the firepower more than the Vikings to overcome it, especially with a better defensive line, able to get some more pressure than the Vikings do, which will always help down the end of the stretch, especially as these offensive lineman injuries start piling up at the end of the season.
Yep.
So I think the Chargers will be okay, but I really like that game. But what game did you have circled, Billy? What are you looking forward to?
Well, so just quickly on last week, everyone was looking forward to that KC-Jacksonville game, and it ended up being a total offensive dud. It was just a defensive mashup. Patrick Mahomes had 300 yards, but it was quiet. I was more disappointed with Jacksonville. I thought they would step up. I thought I'd see a big show from ATN and Lawrence, and I didn't see it. I was left mystified. I have a brother-in-law that's Jags fan, and I just immediately text him like, "What is going on with your team?" Because this is the point where even if you lose to KC, you want to make it interesting. You want to have a 30-35, score points with this team just so you can show you compete with them. But that didn't happen. But this week, I have my eyes actually on, and I was looking through the slate. I'm intrigued with. You said LA and Minnesota, and that is a very interesting game to me because I do think it's two offenses that can fly. I am kind of interested in New Orleans.
You got New Orleans? New Orleans. The Colts-Ravens game is kind of intriguing.
Colts-Ravens interesting.
In terms of a clashing of playing styles, kind of the...
Yep. Yeah, same quarterback almost.
Anthony Richardson playing against the quarterback who people hope he can become. So that's kind of an interesting matchup.
I also am interested in Buffalo at Washington. I think Washington's one of those quiet teams. I do like the defense. I like the offense, the way it's going. I've liked what their quarterback has done in Washington with why am I blanking? Sam Howell. I was thinking of the Drake May, the quarterback now for UNC, Heisman hopeful, and also first round pick hopeful, but first overall pick hopeful. But Sam Howell's been really good. He's got multiple passing touchdowns, multiple rushing touchdowns. The guy's looking like he could be the real deal. A good solid quarterback with the Washington Commanders. So that's interesting to me. And like we said, the New Orleans at Green Bay. I like both of these two teams. New Orleans has a very good defense, and Carr's been decent with that offense. Chris Olave is awesome, and then Green Bay. Jordan Love has put together quite a season so far. 6 touchdowns. He's the leader in the clubhouse for touchdowns for the season. And he's gone to rookies. Him having out Christian Watson and Aaron Jones last week, he stepped up, played very well, 150 yards passing, but still 6 touchdowns, nothing to shake your head at. And if I'm a Bears fan, I'm pissed off. How do they get from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers down to possibly Jordan Love as their quarterback?
Also, if you're a Bears fan, you got to be hitting the panic button too, right?
Let's talk about that.
It doesn't look great so far, and the biggest takeaway that I've seen is I know coming out of college, Justin Fields was not a run-first quarterback, and I know that's not who he is. He's not going to be an Anthony Richardson. He's not a Lamar Jackson, but you got to give him some more designed runs. He has the speed. We're not asking him to run RPOs like Lamar and Anthony Richardson, but some designed run. That's where he was so good last year.
Yeah.
Was those designed runs, and they've cut those down significantly. And I think the one thing that made me go crazy was if you watch that game, there was a sequence when they had the ball on the 5-yard line and called the same screen pass three times in a row.
Yeah. Yep.
What are we doing?
Almost led to a defensive touchdown too, because they luckily got a holding call and the pick was taken back. Justin Fields, you got to make him run a little bit more. It helps open up his arm. But from what I was watching, some of those tapes where he had guys wide open throughout the game, and just you got to hit those reads. And it's a whole progression. I understand that, but it seemed like sometimes the first read that he had, he just didn't see it when the guy was open, and he missed that window and had to go to another one. And then by that time, there's already guys over him. And I know that the offensive line stinks. The defense stinks. I don't even know what happened with their defensive coordinator. There was talks about him just taking a personal leave of absence, but then there was something about his house got raided by the cops. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah, that was an up and down story that went back and forth. I think at the end of the day, they said that the raid was not real, but it was a weird situation where he wasn't with the team, and he said it was for personal issues. The team didn't really know why, but everyone defended the personal issues, and now he resigned. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I felt bad for Justin Fields when he got thrown under the bus about his comments about the coaching staff. That stunk. But got to go back to one of my good old classic movies, Bull Durham. Something Justin Fields needs to learn is he's got to learn his cliches and work on that a little bit more with the media.
I like it. Not bad. Couple other just interesting games. Atlanta at Detroit. Atlanta right now 2-0, sitting in the lead in that division. Detroit looks like a playoff team. Their offense, I'm always intrigued by with Amon-Ra St. Brown, which hopefully he plays this week.
Be a good test for Ritter to see if he can actually put up points.
True.
He's going to have to against the Lions.
And Jahmyr Gibbs, this is his opportunity to really step up with David Montgomery out for this week. He's looked explosive when he's touched the ball, and they just haven't given him that feeds. They need to just lay him the ball the entire time, because I want to see that guy continually, just run with the football. He's so much fun to watch. Any other games you like?
I'm on the standpoint with the Falcons. If you're another team in the NFL and you need a tight end, why not call the Falcons? I mean,
yeah.
I get that Kyle Pitts is a great athlete and they love him there at Atlanta, but they don't use him. They do not use him. And Drake London didn't have a catch in week 1.
It's been bad.
I don't know. It's just they seem to be more committed to the run game. They got Algier, they got Robbins or Bijan. And if I was the Falcons, you could probably get something good for him. You don't use him. I don't know. He's always one of the most mind-boggling players in the NFL to me. He's just so good, never used.
It sucks. I feel like he was open the entire time last week, and Ritter just didn't look at him at all.
Well, if Ritter can't pass against the Lions, then it's going to be a long year. But this will be a big game for them. It'll be interesting. It could be high scoring. It could not.
Yeah. Sam, anyone you looking forward to besides this Giants game, which they're already down 3-0? I have 4 for 21 yards for my man Mr. McCaffrey, so I'm looking so far pretty nice with that over under. Oh, Sam might be out with the mic.
Sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Oh, he's back.
I think Breida is going to have more yards than McCaffrey.
Woohoo! All right, I like it. Sam, all right, so we do have a trivia question before we get out of here, and I didn't get this from AJ. I looked this up myself. Who was the first player to lead the league in touchdown passes while playing for different teams? Meaning he led the league in TD passes for one team for 7 years. Later, he then led the league in TD passes while playing for a different team.
Peyton Manning?
No. It would be a former New York Giant quarterback.
Jeff Hostetler?
Nope.
Kerry Collins?
Nope. Think earlier.
Kent Graham?
The one, the only, Y.A. Tittle. So he threw 17 touchdowns, which led the league in 1955 for the 49ers. Then he came back with the Giants and led the league with 33 and 36 and 62 and 63. And then, obviously, those two teams play today on Thursday Night Football.
Wow.
Y.A. Tittle.
I figured
first player ever.
Be that.
Well, first player ever. I'm sure Peyton definitely did it with the Colts and then the Broncos.
Yeah,
but this is the first player to ever do that.
Those days, that doesn't count. Really.
Well, think about it. 17 passing touchdowns in 1955 was the league leader.
Let's say I wouldn't be shocked either if Favre was on that list of guys who
Favre
for two teams. He had some good year with the Vikings that first year.
Vikings. Yeah, I'd have to look if he was the leader in that clubhouse when he played for the Vikings.
Or Tom Brady.
Did Tom Brady lead the league? I don't know. Did he? He might have. Yeah, he could have.
He's ever led the league in touchdown passes is the thing. He did go bananas when he got to the Buccaneers.
Well, no, he definitely had. He had the Randy Moss year. Yeah.
Kurt Warner
maybe did he do it with Cardinals? I'm gonna have to look this up. I'm gonna look up who else, and that'll be my next trivia question. Who else did it? We'll have to look at that. But yeah, I mean, looking forward to Week 3 NFL football schedule. Get your fun bets in there. Get your fantasy teams lineup set. I mean, for Sam and Brett, this is Football Primetime. See you next week.
See ya.